Good morning. Welcome to the chaos that is my home office kitchen and a squeaky, crazy furnace that won't stop. I have not picked up the phone to vlog in quite a while. To be honest, I think I probably should have for the last couple of weeks. This really feels reminiscent to early times when I was trying to record my experience and how I was feeling with certain things. And I don't think that that's any different now, even though I'm almost 3 years post-op. In fact, I feel arguably more frustrated and more upset right now and possibly relatable. So I've been wanting to put together a video for a while, but I haven't sat down and been able to do it. I'm dealing with a little bit of regain. I've talked about how I have gained a little bit of weight just gradually over time, but nothing dramatic. And I've been mostly staying the same. It kind of like trickles upward just a tiny bit every now and then. But it got to the point where I got to almost, I think I got to 219, which is like 20 pounds up from my lowest. I got down, well, technically, I think I got to 196 was my lowest. So about 20 pounds up. And I reached a point where I realized that I don't want that. That's not okay. I wanted to stop that from continuing to trickle upward. I have been using the excuse, and frankly, it is an excuse, that if I restrict my eating, I will make things worse for myself. And did I start the water? I did not start the water. I've been really nervous since healing, working on healing my my binge eating and my food addiction. I mean, it's not healed, obviously. And it's one of those things that I think I will always have to work on. But I've put a lot of effort into it, and I made a lot of strides. And I got myself to this place of essentially intuitive eating. It's not by actual practice of true intuitive eating, but what people normally think of, right? Of if I'm hungry, I eat. If I have a craving, I deal with that in a responsible way, and I move on, and I allow my body to have food and when I need it, and that has worked okay until I realized that it hasn't been, because I've been slowly gaining weight, which means I'm not maintaining. And so when I took a step back and I looked at what I'm actually doing, I was just snacking because I wanted to snack. It wasn't necessarily something that I needed. I wasn't necessarily hungry. And the biggest thing is I felt so guilty about the snack that I was adding to it so that I had a good balance. So I was buying like peanut butter sandwich crackers. I won't buy them anymore because I love them so much. But when I ate one, I wanted to be balanced, and I wanted it to be an appropriate snack. So I was also having a bowl of cottage cheese with it, and that's fine. And that's a great mentality and practice, but ultimately I wasn't really hungry for the snack in the first place. So now I'm ingesting quite a bit of calories. And so I just realized I was overdoing it, which is why I was trickling upward. I was not even in maintenance. So I decided that I wanted to start losing weight again, at least get back down to, the 200 that I was floating at for a very long time. But also I have my wedding coming up, so it would be really nice to get back down to that size, or maybe even slightly, like a size smaller, because of the wedding dress. I already know the wedding dress is like one size too small for me. So it would be great to not have to do a lot of alterations. But I was really, really hesitant to do too much about it, because I don't want to get myself back into, a diet mentality or a restriction, like a food restriction kind of situation, where now I'm undoing a lot of the work that I put in to have a healthy relationship with food. So I've found something that has been working, which is literally just tracking my food, tracking and counting my calories, being mindful so that I'm not eating unless I'm actually hungry, and, having pre-planned meals and snacks, things that, will fuel me. I've just been back to basics, right? Is what a lot of people will say. Normal foods, just being mindful. The most important thing is I've been feeling full and satisfied. And so the first week I lost a few pounds, and I know, a good chunk of that's water weight and everything, but I was feeling good. I was feeling like this is doable. And of course this week is Halloween week, and we got invited to a Halloween party this last weekend, but I continued to eat really mindfully. I did go overboard with like candy and snacks on Saturday night, but it was one day, right? So I felt good. I felt like everything's been on point. Then I had my one day where I ate candy and snacks and I had some adult beverages, and it was good. And then I got right back on it, and I was feeling, really good about it. And I stepped on the scale this morning. I gained back the 3 pounds that I lost previously. And I'm just so effing frustrated. I am so frustrated because I've been working hard except for one night where I allowed myself some time. And I'm the person who always tells people one day is not going to throw you off. So ultimately, that's where I'm landing, is this one day wasn't something that threw me off entirely. So what the hell happened? What the hell happened this week to make that happen? I mean, I've got to get to work. I've got to get started for the day. I needed to vent, and I needed to talk about how frustrating this is and how I feel like I'm going backwards. I'm going back into the same old mentality that I just don't want to be a part of anymore. And I don't know how to fix it. Okay, I'm on my lunch break now, so I guess I'll finish my thought. So the reason that I get really freaked out about this stuff is that I have a tendency to have this all or nothing mentality, and that makes things really, really difficult, in particular when I'm talking about weight loss. I just can't be chill about it. And so now, of course, I'm just seething, and I'm so irritated with my lack of progress. And then there's part of my brain that's saying, you've only been doing this for 2 weeks, and you had good results one week and not great results the next week. It's not enough data to be able to worry about it. The other part of me is saying there should be a downward trend, even if it's just a little bit. I'm fully aware. I've done the video in the past on how weight fluctuates normally. I battle with myself all the time because I know all the information to tell myself that it's fine, to tell myself all the statistics and the reasons why I shouldn't freak out, but it doesn't matter because my brain still freaks out. And then I have this internal battle, and it makes it really difficult to just be chill about things. So I spent a good chunk of time today in my Zoom class, listening to the material and on my phone, tracking all the food that I'm going to eat today and scrutinizing what food choices I'm making, whether or not that's the best choice, whether or not it's the most balanced choice, whether or not I can skim some calories here and there. And that's the kind of stuff that I hate doing. And I know that I can't just not put effort into things, because not putting effort into things, unfortunately, just isn't my reality. I am one of those people, regardless of my gastric bypass, I'm one of those people that is not able to just sit back and be fine. I have to put effort towards losing weight, or it won't happen for me. I am trying to make small changes, small forward movement changes one of which being eating less sugar. That has been the big thing over the last 2 weeks that I've been really watching. So yes, I've been mindful about my calories and my protein and all of those normal things. But for me, my biggest thing has been cutting down on an unnecessary sugar. I was eating too many sweets and just telling myself it was fine because it's less than what I would eat in the past. And that's absolutely true, but it's still more than I should have been eating. And also, I have a suspicion that the high sugar amounts are messing with my mood and my sleep. So I wanted to cut that down to just not having as much, and just being mindful when I do have something with sugar in it. Mostly staying away from added sugars. I really think that people freak out about sugar so much, and then they cut out fruits and things that I don't believe in cutting out fruit from your diet just because it's high in sugar. There's way more benefits to fruit that outweigh the fact that they have natural sugar in them. So I've been focusing on cutting down on my added sugar intake, and I have been successful at that. I have drastically reduced how much sugar that I'm eating, and that makes me feel good. It makes me feel good just physically. It makes me feel good like I'm being productive. But unfortunately, it's not enough to just start shedding pounds, right? And that's what's so frustrating is I've stopped snacking, not because I don't believe in snacks, but because I'm being mindful with my meals. It's lasting me longer. I'm now able to eat a meal and I don't really get hungry and want to be snacky. And if I'm being, honest with myself when times that I am getting snacky, a lot of times it's not because I'm hungry. And so being mindful about that, I have drastically reduced the amount of snacks that I'm having throughout the day, and I have drastically reduced my sugar. And I'm staying in a calorie deficit, and yet I'm not losing weight. But that is what kicks me back to, okay, well, you lost weight the first week and you didn't the second week, so you need to chill out. So I wanted to record this because it's been a long time since I've recorded something like this and put it back on my channel. And I was hoping that it would be relatable. 3 years after surgery, people drop off the face of the planet, myself included. I have been really busy, and I felt like a lot of the content that I had just wasn't necessarily relatable anymore. Wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to put effort into. But this is the reality for a lot of people, really, really struggling 3 years out to lose weight. And for me, barely maintaining. I want to put this out there because I want to make sure that you guys know what I'm working on, know what's going on, and can relate to this stuff, and know what to expect years down the road, because there really is a honeymoon period. I remember rolling my eyes just a little bit at it when I was, pre-op, and I'm pretty sure I have a couple comments and some really old videos that I'm like, this can't be really that hard. I don't know why, people just aren't continuing on with the habits that they form. And, I should rewatch some of those old videos, because I bet you I had a couple of hot takes in there. The reality is it is really hard. I do eat so much less than I used to, and I still do have restriction in my stomach, and I still, if we go out to eat, for example, it is at least 3 meals for me when I take home my leftovers. So it is still very beneficial and prevalent in my life. It's not like 3 years out from surgery. It's as if I'm back to square one. I am definitely not back to where I was before. I still have the hunger cues and the full cues that have been reset and are fairly normal now, where I didn't before. So absolutely still have the benefits from surgery, but it doesn't fall off anymore. And just making slight mindful adjustments to my food and my day isn't enough for me. I have come to the realization that I really need to go back to the gym. I really do. I felt really good when I went to the gym, even if it was just every other day. And I know that the strength training would do me well in a lot of different ways. I need to find a way to force myself to find the time to do that in my life. That's the hardest part, is just making the time for me, because I know that would help me. But with that comes an increased appetite. That always happens when I work out, and it's very normal when you work out. So I just have to be prepared that, making that change is not in itself just going to fix the issue, but I know that it would benefit me way more than it would harm me. So I need to figure that part out. I need to make some bigger changes. But ultimately, I'm frustrated. I'm really, really frustrated. And a week is a long time to wait. It goes by really fast in the grand scheme of things, but when you are waiting for your next weigh-in to see how well your changes did over that week, boy, is that a long time to wait before the next Tuesday comes around and you can see, how successful those changes were. And that's the reality of the situation, is that I have to keep adjusting and reassessing every week. And when you give yourself a deadline, like, buy your dress alteration appointment or buy your wedding, it really is a problem. I need to not give myself deadlines. Ultimately, I want to do this to be healthier and happier and more comfortable. But there is that little piece in the back that's like, but you got this thing coming up. So like, that's part of the equation too, right? Anyway, that's where I'm at. I wanted to bring you guys along on this mental journey that I'm going through. Hello, I am sitting in my car because my doctor's appointment went way too quickly. And so I can't get to my next appointment until they open. And I figured now would be a good opportunity to update some stuff. So I am working on reining in my food, and trying to balance that. I really don't want to do a massive overhaul and a super restriction diet mentality before my wedding. I don't want to be that person. I'm not trying to get to a certain ideal or a certain situation before the wedding as much as I just want to be healthy. I want to be conditioned for the Disney World vacation that we're going to do. So I need to make sure that I can handle the amount of walking and things that are going to be required of that trip. And also I need to fit in my dress, and that's not a huge task. I just can't gain weight. I talked to the seamstress at my alteration appointment, and she was very kind but honest about the fact that the dress is being fitted to me at the size that I was when I came in for that appointment. So I could go down a little bit in weight and it would be fine. I have a corset back, so there's some adjustability there, but ultimately, it was really important for me to just work on maintaining my current size and my current weight. And that's not an unrealistic ask, right? That's not unrealistic for her to be like, hey, just keep in mind, you can't get bigger for this dress. So for me, it's not so much as that I want to, slim down for my wedding as much as I want to be, healthy and fit before the wedding and fit in the dress at my current size. So I want to balance this by not doing things that are super restrictive and super diety, like people do before their wedding. But at the same time, I do want to make some changes, and I went absolutely overboard this Christmas. I don't know. It's probably a mixture of factors. I'm 3 years post-op now. Things have changed. I've added more sugar back into my life than I would like to, which has made it easier to eat that sugar, but also I was finding myself eating the sugar and not feeling good. So it didn't matter that the sugar was not making me feel good. It wasn't enough of a deterrent. I was still eating a lot of it. So there's a lot of some of that, the bad mental thoughts coming back into my head this year, that I've noticed before, or that I've noticed more than other years. And probably, the stress with planning the wedding, was just sort of giving me an excuse to not think about things and be mindful. So I noticed a lot of changes this year, and changes that I didn't like. So I definitely want to rein that in. I was going to do that slower, but the fact of the matter is I have 30 days before the wedding. So I'm, again, trying to find this balance between going nutso for the next 30 days and having this diet mentality, but also getting my shit together, right? I need to do that. So I've been focusing really hard on just having appropriate portions. I did join the tribe from the sleep dietitian. She is somebody I've been following on Instagram for a while, and I decided to join her program to just help me get control over, some of the bariatric fundamentals, and being more mindful and, cognizant of my servings. And so I'm trying to follow her method. I'm not working on trying to cut a lot of things out. I'm trying to just add balance and make sure that my proportions are correct, that I'm eating my protein first. I'm doing all the things that I needed, that I did in the beginning, that I should be continuing to do. Eating my protein first, eating off of a small plate, making sure that, half of my plate is protein, probably a good fourth of it is vegetables, small amount of it is fat and carb, just working on balance. I'm not tracking my food. I know from experience, from years of experience, and from trying this somewhat recently, tracking my food is awful for my mental health, and it sends me into a spiral where I start overthinking everything that I'm eating. I start playing around with the different things in my app, and I start trying to figure out, if I don't eat this, then I can eat this, and I go crazy. I spend huge amounts of my time doing that, and I hate that. So I am just working on trying to have a better balance and just being mindful about my foods. And so far, I'm only a few days into it, but so far I've been really happy with that. I feel really fueled. I feel satisfied with my food. I do have to work on some of my timing with my food, because I've noticed, and part of it's just work schedules, work things that are getting in the way. But I have noticed that occasionally I'll go too long between meals. I'll get really hangry and irritable. So that's something that I want to work on. But the amount of food, me feeling satiated, me feeling like I'm not depriving myself, that has been going really well so far. Today at my doctor's appointment, I'm not making a lot of rules for this 30 days. I don't want it to be really restrictive and like rule intensive. But one rule that I set for myself, which was for my own benefit and not for eating rules, was that I wasn't going to weigh myself. I'm not going to weigh myself this month until the end of the month. I don't want to worry about whether or not I'm losing weight every week and then second guessing what I'm doing. I'm going to make a valiant effort to do what I need to do, and do that for the next 30 days. And then at the end of the month, before I leave, I'm going to just see where I landed. That's one way for me to help keep this balance. But I went to the doctor today, and I tried not to look at the scale, but it's hard to not get that information while I'm there. So doctor scales are notorious for being like making things worse than they really are, right? So I was a little bit worried. I kept my shoes on, I kept my jeans and my hoodie on. I just stepped on the scale, and that put me at quite a bit lower than the last time I weighed myself at home. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but I know some of that's probably water weight and all the sugar that I was eating and everything. And they are different scales and everything, but that's promising to me. It's promising to me that there is a much, much lower weight on there than I thought I was really kind of hovering at right now. And so I'm just going to continue plugging away and not thinking about it for the rest of the month. So that's where I'm at. That's my update for right now. I'm back home from my doctor's appointment now. And I wanted to stress not only how proud I am of myself, but just one of the big things about all of this is making those little decisions throughout the day, those little things that add up that you don't really necessarily think about until it's too late. Or like in my case, in the last couple of months, I've just been giving in to any whim and any desire that I had for, for treats or whatever. And, I don't want to necessarily be in a position where I'm, again, restricting myself or saying, no, I can't have a treat or something. But when you're always saying yes to the things, that becomes an issue, right? It's not a treat anymore. And so I was noticing that I, would use the opportunity to go out and grab something while it was out and about for work. I haven't done that in a couple of years. And now, it's coming back as a thought process that I'm having. I really wanted to go get a Starbucks today. I had 30 minutes between when I was done with my doctor's appointment and when I had to go to the next appointment. And I was like, it would be great to just go and get a coffee. I go and I get a sugar-free latte, with soy milk. I love it. I like the taste of the soy milk, and also soy milk has slightly more protein, but it also has some more carbs and sugar and calories. So, it's not like it's an amazing choice, but it's not the worst choice ever. But it is extra calories and extra sugar that I don't need, even though I desperately wanted some coffee this morning. So I made the decision not to do that. I checked in with my grandma because it's her birthday. I posted on Instagram. I kept myself busy with other things. So I was really proud of that. So in addition to yesterday really wanting to stop for some lunch, and today really wanting to stop for some coffee, I'm just finding that it's those small decisions during the day that I choose. You know what? I don't really need that. I'm not going to go ahead and do that. That will add up over time. It also makes me feel good about the choices that I'm making. I'm not feeling bad and deprived. I'm feeling like I'm in control and I'm making a conscious effort and a choice that I don't need that. I will go home and I'll make a tea when I get home. So, easy to say that now. Those decisions, it's like a bell curve, right? So it gets harder to keep making those decisions until it becomes more of a habit, and more of just I don't really think about it kind of situation, but I'm not there yet.